Welcome to the Sheild Within. The issues discussed on the Sheild Within podcast do not reflect the opinions of any specific agency. They are the views of the host and the guest. Any persons discussed may be fictional for comedic purposes only. This podcast is rated explicit and listener discretion is advised. Listening to the Sheild Within may trigger repressed or suppressed memories or experiences. Please contact a mental health professional at your earliest convenience. It's time for the chaos to cease.
Time to open yourself to peace.
From the hours you've put in,
To the next shift you begin,
from the endless pursuit of release,
that finds the worst unleashed.
transform the ugly into a win.
Get to know your shield within.
Hey, welcome to the Sheild Within.
Welcome, Mark.
Snuck that in on you, didn't I? We are super excited. This is Wives on the Line number 3.
That's right.
And we don't have Tres Hombres here. We have, I can't say women. That's actually my favorite one of my favorite ZZ Top albums, right, David?
That's right.
So we have Karen McGrail. Say hi.
Hello.
Yeah, we have Janell.
Hello.
And from the Hey Baby podcast, the one, the only, Miss Nichole.
Hello.
Say hi.
Say
We're
hi
darn
again.
glad to have everybody here, and we're going to jump right into this.
Good afternoon, and thank you. Echoing what Mark said, this has been something I've been eagerly awaiting for weeks. So, and thank you for being patient when I had COVID 2 weeks ago. I'm glad. It just lasted a few days. I'm fine. So thank you all for being patient.
Oh,
You're
absolutely.
welcome.
I'm going to kind of follow the same format I used in the first 2, Wives on the Line. And I'd like to kind of introduce you each to give a sense of background for how each of you end up in this room with me today. So I'm going to start with Karen.
Okay.
Karen, you are the wife of a...
My husband he's a retired Sydney Police Department officer.
Very good. And how long was he an officer?
He was an officer for 17 years. He was actually a 6th grade teacher for 12 years.
Oh.
And then right after we got married, decided his life dream was to be a police officer. So he tried and got on the force right before the 35 years when he couldn't try again. So,
Okay.
yeah, right when he was 35 years old.
Wow.
So, yeah.
What a trip. That's a good story.
Yes.
Nichole, what's your background?
So I am a police officer, but my husband is a police officer and has a lot more experience than I do. So he's been a police officer for, I think we're going on 33 years.
Whew. Long time.
Long time.
Yeah. And you are an active duty police person now.
I am, yes.
How long have you done that?
We are going on three years.
Wow. Very good. Very good.
So, yeah.
And we have Janell.
Hello.
Hi. How about your background, Janell?
So I am married to Eric Kreitz, who is a retired firefighter in Troy.
Mm-hmm.
He was in fire service for 33 years before he retired 2 years ago.
And you have been married to Eric
20 years.
20 years. So 13 of those years were before you and Eric were married,
Correct.
roughly.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. I want to start with Karen. At the point you met Mike, he was not a police person.
No, he was a teacher, and so was I. They set us up on a blind date.
Ah, okay.
Cool.
Apparently you survived. It appears you see very well.
Yes, he did. Actually, he asked me to marry him in front of my class. So, yep.
Oh, my.
All of our kids. Yep.
That's cute.
That is
Yeah,
so sweet.
It was awesome.
So you've known him. You've gotten serious with each other. There's a decision made to marry you. You're going to marry him.
Yes.
You plan the wedding. You get through the wedding. And then he decides to be a cop?
Yes. Apparently, he had wanted to be a police officer for a long time, but felt his parents were both teachers. And so he just felt like maybe he should go into education.
Okay.
And he just couldn't get rid of that feeling that he really wanted to be an officer. So, so he decided to try it and got on the force. And he was so happy. He said he couldn't believe people paid him to do something he loved to do every day.
Awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm thinking there was this moment where he sat you down and said, Karen, I'm not just thinking about it. I'm just haven't dreamt about it for 20 years. I'm going to do this. What was that conversation like?
I was excited for him because I knew he wanted to do it so badly.
Gotcha.
So I really hoped he would get in. Very difficult. Once it was an excitement until they send in Sydney. They send you to the Ohio State Patrol training, which is 4 months away, and I was 5 months pregnant. And I had
Oh, my
moved to
gosh.
Sydney, and I was away from my family, so I was on my own. And I actually went into labor the last day right before they went to take the test and graduate. So I had to call the police academy and see if they would allow him to come home for me to have the baby. And after much discussion, they finally allowed him home for 12 hours, I think. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were very strict.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then he had to be back the following morning very early for graduation. Yes. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Yeah.
so he tells you this. You're excited for him.
Yes.
What goes through your head about, oh, shit, I'm about to have a baby? All right, we're going to have kids.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's going to be a cop.
Mm-hmm.
Am I comfortable with that?
I just knew this was something he had dreamed of. And so for him, I wanted him to be happy. And I knew this would make him happy. So,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah.
That's sweet.
Did it scare you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Probably not as much the first few years.
Okay.
But when his dream was to be a sniper on the SWAT team. And when he got on the SWAT team, that was his biggest dream fulfilled. And then I was scared. I did not like SWAT calls at all. Yeah. Yeah.
Those were scary.
They are very scary. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Janell,
Yes,
you knew this man was a first responder.
I did.
So, how'd you find that out?
It was something like I always knew about him, I think.
Okay.
I was introduced to him knowing he was on the department.
Okay.
Kind of synonymously because I owned a dance studio.
Ah.
And we were looking for someone that could help me with the parade float. And someone said, hey, there's Eric Kreitz. He's on the fire department. He builds trailers on the side. Basically, he had a fabrication shop. And that's how we were introduced the first time. That's how I knew of him the first time.
Gotcha.
So beyond that, I just always knew he was on fire service.
Okay. Did the two of you start to date quickly, or did that take a while?
No, we didn't start to date quickly. We were both married separately.
Oh, okay.
And so it wasn't until we had both divorced that we found our way back to each other and just started talking.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, the fact he was a fireman,
Mm-hmm.
did that attract you?
Yes. Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think that very much so. I mean, firefighters, they're the heroes, they save you. And so just aside from fire service itself, just the fire calls, you also have the medical side of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, I just thought it was very interesting.
And there was something kind of exciting about it.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed. Okay.
Yes.
Nichole,
Yes.
you knew this man you married was a first responder when you met him. True?
I did, yep.
And how did that happen? How
Okay,
did you
so-
meet Eric?
So our story is a little different. So I actually met him. We were both a part of this group that it's called Drinkin' Bros, and the idea behind that is for first responders and veterans to never be by themselves. So it's you're never drinking alone. You're never alone. Everything that you've experienced, there's somebody there that can relate. So I had been divorced. I had just gotten a divorce. I lived in a city where I didn't have family, didn't have friends, and I was like, I need to make friends. There was this meetup up in Dayton, and I was like, hey, I will go to that. And that's how I met him in person. And I knew he was a cop. My background for that group was I'm a Gold Star family member, so that my brother was killed in Iraq. So that was the military side. I was a part of that group. And then he was like, I am a police officer and I teach at the police academy. I don't even know how we got started on that subject, to be honest, because he doesn't like to talk about work and I don't really like to talk about work. But I was like, I've always wanted to do that. And then he's like, oh, well, you can. And I was like, I'm too old. And then it kind of went from there. And that was the first night I met him. And then we kind of were inseparable and became best friends.
And so, did him being a cop attract you?
No, honestly, I mean, that wasn't the thing that did it for me. It was, he was interesting. He could hold a conversation. He did all the things that I was interested in doing. He was interested in backpacking and being outdoors. And I was like, oh, this guy, I could learn so much from him. Him being a cop, like I was like, oh, okay, that's just what you do.
Right. Didn't have any special meaning to you. Even as a member of a Gold Star family.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, that's cool, buddy. But you're more interesting outside of your job. Like, there's so much more to you.
Yeah.
And that's what attracted me.
Yeah. And I'm going to guess all three of you could say that, right?
Me too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You married men you didn't marry them because they were first responders.
Correct.
No.
You married these men and have stayed with these men because they're interesting people. And you have lots of common ground.
Yes.
You enjoy time with each other.
Absolutely.
And then there's this thing that we always forget about, to me, that's very obvious and easy to overlook. You liked them.
Very
Most
much.
days, yeah.
That is a good answer. Most days.
It can't be constant. Okay. So you each have fire, and suburban police, small town police. As your husbands are on duty, are you in your head imagining what they're going through on their shift at their job? Did that enter your mind? Anybody can start.
At first, yeah, I was kind of curious, like, oh, what do you do? Of course, when I met him, he wasn't your average patrol cop. He was a sergeant, so he was a midnight road sergeant.
Okay.
So his is a little different, but still, I was like, what do you do all day? Like, what are you doing?
Instead of creating an image and a dream and a whole scenario, you asked him directly.
Yeah.
What'd you get back?
He kind of laughed. And then he goes, well, I don't know. I'm just in charge of these guys. And he's like, do you want to ride along one night? And I was like, hell yeah, let's go. And he works for a suburban police department they're busy, but it's not like where I work. And so he was like, he showed me different things that they do, what his guys do. And since he's a sergeant, he does more admin stuff than out on the road. And I was like, this is kind of interesting. You get to do cool stuff.
Admin stuff. Educate me. What's that mean exactly?
He gets to sit at his desk and look at his computer and approve reports or watch body cam footage and like see what they do, or if they get complaints for whatever reason, he goes and reviews it
Okay.
And I forget what else because I'm like, oh, that sounds boring.
Yeah, right. Almost an HR kind of position where you're reviewing people's performances and giving them reports and reviews and feedback and that kind of thing.
Yeah, he's a leader of a team.
Okay.
And that's like, I think the best way to put it because he's done what they've done. He's got the experience and he's leading these guys to be better than he was as a cop. And right now he's just doing the paperwork side of it.
Right. Does he like it?
Yes. And he said, I told you he's been doing it for 30 some years and he tells people he'll do it until he's not enjoying it anymore. So He still
does.
very much likes it.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Karen, Janelle, did you have an image, an idea what my husband's going through while he's at work?
Kind of the same. I just kind of asked, what is your day like? Like, what is your
Yeah.
day to day? And in fire service, you work 24 on, 48 off. And so, at least different departments do it different ways, but
Okay.
that's the way Troy does it. That's the way a lot of departments do it. So, when he would, be on shift at that time, I would, ask like, how does your day play out? What do you do? How does this all come about? And he kind of did the same thing, as in he asked me, you can come in and visit. And so I would go in at times and visit, and sometimes have a meal with them, or sometimes just hang out for a couple hours and say hello. And they would be in the watch room, and that's where you could visit them, or they have a common area that you can visit them.
So the direct request gave you direct access, just like with Nichole.
Yes,
Once you have direct knowledge, you don't have to create a movie.
correct.
Reassuring, I would think. True?
Yes, until you know that they're out on a strenuous call. And then that's when your mind can't settle down, because you don't know what's actually happening. You just know, okay, there's a structure fire, and he's on scene with a structure fire. Or, they have a bad medic call, they have an accident, and things like that. And, they're there in that capacity to help and save, but things most people don't think about is the traffic surrounding that. If it's an interstate call, there's times where the interstate isn't shut down. Maybe they're on the side of the road, and people aren't always nice about getting over. And there was a very scary moment where, Eric was getting out of the engine, and someone didn't have the courtesy to get over a lane, and he had to jump back in the engine to keep from
Being hurt.
being cremated on the interstate. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Karen?
I am obsessed with listening to scanners, and so
Oh my goodness.
so I didn't have to figure it out, because I just was by the scanner when I wasn't teaching school. I was at home by the scanner.
Yes.
So I kind of knew, and when supper time came, I'd be like, oh, this is what you should be doing at this job, or this is what you need to do at this call. He's like, turn that dang scanner off, Karen. So, yeah, I just kind of knew everything. But I also grew up in a town of 1,000 people. So when our fire police went out, if there was a fire call, the minute the sirens went off in our town, everybody went down to the firehouse to read the board to see whose house it was. I mean, that was a part of my growing up. In fact, our blind date, we were on a walk and the fire trucks went out, and I'm like, we got to get back to the firehouse. And he's like, what? And I'm like, you have to see what's going on. He's like, oh my gosh, you people are too crazy. So yeah, the minute he got on, I was so excited to listen to the scanner every day. Yeah.
I know that person.
So it wasn't out of fear.
Oh no, curiosity.
Curiosity.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So your men come home from work over long periods of time, shorter period of time maybe. But like they come home from work, did they share much with you about what went on during that shift? All three shaking heads.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I asked him, like, what do you do? But even on that ride along, I would say he still held a little bit of protection to keep me from seeing what we as police officers and other first responders, what we actually see. And even when he would come home, he would be like, well, this is what we had, or like, it was a hard day, a hard shift, or whatever. But he was never very transparent with it. Like, he still kind of shielded me from
Yes.
the stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The hard stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would get the same thing. I would ask him, how was your day? Because, of course, you never ask that when they're on shift, because if it's quiet, it
Yes.
suddenly is
And
no
you
longer
know it's their
quiet.
day.
So you never ask that. But the next day, like, I would, ask, when he would get home in the morning, how was your work shift? And it was okay. It was busy. It was quiet. There were very few times that he went into detail about like what happened.
Okay.
He just kind of had that like separation of work and home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he worked to not bring it home with him.
Correct.
Okay. Karen?
Found the same thing. In fact, that was probably a piece of our marriage that where it became hard
Exactly.
was that he wouldn't share
Yeah.
anything. And Mike and I are part of a crisis debrief team for 3 counties, and we get called out to things. And we go to a lot of police and fire calls after something happens. And I can't tell you the amount of times in 10 years I've heard it, because I'm always the end piece of, spouses
Okay.
to these guys of, hey, we're at home though. We're the ones worried. We're the ones you don't open up to. And the amount of times men have said, we have to protect our wives. And I'm like, no, we don't need protection. And they're like, yeah, you do. So it's that difference. But I think, personally, that's why marriages struggle in
Yes,
police and
absolutely.
fire world, is because they don't share
Yes.
what they're going
100%.
through.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
it's so from there it's 2 different perspectives. From them it's protecting us. From my side, it's, do you not care that I want to know?
Yeah.
And or they won't share, but then 10 minutes later you'll hear them on the phone talking with one of their buddies,
Yes.
and they're like, when you go to a call that's so close to death, there's a tightness among officers and firemen that you guys will never see as a wife. And I had to get used to that. But
That is
it's
so
tough.
true. That's so true, though.
Tough. Yeah.
Like, and it's I don't know, whatever the word is I'm looking for. It's something I didn't understand until I became a police officer.
Wow.
Where, I do it to him, even though he knows exactly what I would be going through. Like,
Yes.
I'm not going to talk about this. And
Yeah.
it won't be until, like, I don't know, this morning when we were talking about something completely innocent. And then all of a sudden I was like having this breakdown because of that completely innocent conversation
Yes.
is what set this off for me, because I was like, they don't even know. They don't know that this kid down the street
Yes.
is experiencing this, but I do.
Yes.
And we're over here pretending that this is okay because we're doing XYZ.
Yes.
And he could just kind of looked at me and he was like, I get it, but why didn't you share this with me from the day you
Right.
had that call or you experienced
Yes.
that? And I was like, I just didn't want you to know and feel what I feel. And then I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You see both sides. That would be very hard.
Yeah. It's something that we're currently navigating because
Yes.
I'm doing that thing that he did to me and what your
Yes.
husbands did to you, where they're trying to protect you. And I'm
Yes.
like, you don't need to see it. And he's like, oh my God, I've seen it 600 more
Yes.
times than you have. And you're
Yes.
Right.
Wow.
Beautifully done.
Wow.
This has come up a lot in my work with first responder families, that the sharing part is one of the things that is just hard for every single family.
Yes.
And you share too much, people freak out.
yeah.
I've had kids who have listened to dads or moms tell each other stories from the day. They're like listening in the hallway or in the bedroom. It's like, then they come to my office and they would tell me 15 years ago when I had my practice, my God, my dad, you ought to hear the story he went through. I heard him tell my mom this morning. Freaked out.
Yeah.
If you don't tell them anything, then there's a growing sense of isolation.
Yes.
And the relationship seems to begin to be troubled from the inside out, in part because there's just not enough sharing going
Yeah.
on. Does that resonate for the 3 of you?
I would say absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, how did you solve it?
Oh, jeez.
I don't know.
Because you all 3 are in the business of solving
Yeah.
it. Yes, 2 may be retired, but they're still in here,
Yeah.
a fireman and a cop, in part. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
how did y'all solve the sharing thing?
I I don't know that we ever really did solve
Yeah.
it. It was just more of acceptance on my end that he's only going to let me in so far to what happens in his day. And I just had to be willing to listen when he was ready to share and just listen, not try to help him navigate through it, but just let him get it off of his mind, off of his heart. This is what happened. This is what I went through, and just kind of listen in that way. So we never really solved the, oh, I want more. You know, I would just express to him, thank you for sharing that with me. And I would just kind of have to, you know, let it go from there.
Gotcha. To me, that sounds like a solution. You learned that the thing that you needed to do to navigate this part of the relationship was to do something I hold sacred. Listening.
Yes.
Listening without analyzing or second guessing or wanting more detail. You just listen.
Yes.
And there's something, to me, purely loving about just listening. And when he was done, he was done.
He was done. Yes.
Exactly. Okay. How about the other two?
I don't think that we're solving much right now. I think we're still realizing that we both can understand the other person's world and what they're going through, and we're still trying to navigate, like, this is a safe, I don't like that term, but this is a safe space for you to share that stuff.
Yes.
And we can explain what's going on, and this might be why we're a little more down or we're a little bit more agitated. But we aren't very good at being intentional with coming and debriefing each other, because we're like in passing right now. Our schedules don't line up very good, and so we just aren't being intentional with it. And I think once we do that, then it might be solved, but right now we're not doing very good.
Is it wearing on the two of you?
I would honestly have to say that is a yes.
Yeah.
That we're mostly me, because I'm still trying to keep him from my day and like what happened. And I think that's because I'm a female, and I'm like, I don't want him to think that I can't do this job because I have that already against me as a female in the police world. But B, like, I don't want him to know, like, this is actually just a grind every day. Like, we are constantly going to somebody's worst day for 10 hours straight. And I think that's just a pride thing I need to get over, and just be like, yeah, it was a shitty day, and I don't want to talk about it right now, but maybe we can go get breakfast and talk about it another day. But right now, we're in that thick of just, I don't know, tension between the two of us, because we are not managing that part.
The sharing part.
Yeah.
And the schedule has to have a huge impact on that. I mean, you have to have a period like Janell's talking, where the two of you sit down without distraction, interruptions, and get into it.
Yeah.
And show just, dude, I'm just here to listen.
Yep.
And man, that makes it really, really hard. I would think that a distraction, like you go to breakfast, like you play with the dogs, like you take a walk, something distracting, in my experience, when things are really tough in here in your head, in your gut, and your emotions are provoked, and you're just upset inside, a distraction, rather than getting into it, can be really beneficial. Take me someplace, get something else going in my head, provoking something else inside of me, then maybe.
Yeah, that's because it's so easy to come home and being like, oh, now we got to deal with all this stuff here at home, and I don't want to talk to you. But if we're forced into the same space, and we're here, we're paying for this meal, I can't just leave. I'm going to be forced to talk to you, you know? Or we drive and we go for a hike.
Yes.
I'll share, this is a little probably too much information, but we did go on a hike once a couple weeks ago, and I was a total mean girl. Because I wanted to go for a hike, and I said, hey, let's go. We got time. And we went. But because I haven't been dealing with and sharing things with him,
Right.
I was very grouchy almost the entire time. I should take that back. It was the first 15 minutes, and then we were good.
Yeah.
And then when we got back to the truck, I turned it back into mean grouchy girl, and we didn't talk about anything necessarily on the hike because I think it was too short. But that's what our life is right now, and it's very hard. And if you were to go to ask him and be like, hey, is she being mean? Yes, she's absolutely being mean, and we need to deal with it.
But you need time.
Yes.
There needs to be space.
And we only have, I would say, 24 hours of time together. I get off on Sunday. That's my first day off. That's his whole day off, his first full day off. And then he goes back to work on Mondays. And Mondays is still my day off. So Sunday when I get off work till Monday about 5 o'clock is the time that we don't really let other people interrupt.
Yes.
Because that's our only time together.
Yeah. And you don't want to jump into serious shit when it's the only 36 hours during the week you get.
Exactly.
So even then you don't plan an appointment with each other to get into that. No.
Yes.
You use distraction. You engage in distraction and enjoy each other's being. Enjoy your relationship
Yes.
with each other rather than having to okay, it's time to work.
Serious conversation right now.
Okay. The sharing damaged your relationship. And this is the story I've heard so often.
Yeah.
That what comes to mind is a gentleman I had probably 25 years ago who was an EMT. And he was married to an EMT. And he never talked to me about his shit. He knew that's what I did. And he was happy to have me see his kids. But he wasn't going to tell me anything.
Yep.
And that relationship died. And the children became very distant from him because he wouldn't share anything. And it was like he had his solution for what he went through. And he was a busy dude. It was a very busy department. But what his solution was, the only way I can handle what I go through is to not tell you a damn thing. And for his kids, that meant, well, we can't have a relationship with our father.
Yep.
That's pretty damaging.
And they got to be like teenagers, 15 to 18 in that neighborhood. And when it came time for us to talk about the relationships with their father, they said, I don't have one. Do you know where he lives? I think so. Have you met his new wife? No. Are you curious? No.
Oh my goodness.
Does he call you? No. Does he text you? Does he have any contact with you at all? My birthday.
Makes me sad.
His birthday. Wow. I mean, it was so distant by this point after 10, 12 years of this that the girls had given up on ever having a relationship with their father.
That's so sad.
And I think the part that damages is not knowing anything at all. Knowing how to share and what to share. That judgment is just huge.
We found for ourselves, we ended up buying, he used to ride a motorcycle. And he always said I could not lean right. And so I was like, all right, you're getting old, I'm getting old. So we traded it in a few years ago for a trike. And we go on trike trips. We usually go down into the mountains twice a year. And this last year we rode to Tennessee. Did we go down to Tennessee? Yeah. And we just usually go by ourselves for about 5 days. And I get him to open up about calls from even years ago that I've never known on the motorcycle. Because he said, I don't have to look at you. And he said, I don't know what it is, but if I can just look ahead and know that I don't have to see your face as you realize what I went through, I'm okay.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
That's pretty.
So you guys need to buy a motorcycle. Yeah.
We have
I'm
one.
going to go home and tell
We're
him that
good.
because he'll be like, absolutely not. But
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah.
I like that. If I don't have to see your reaction to what I'm going,
Yes.
explaining
You
to
can
you,
just listen.
it kind of, I don't want to say detaches me or
Yes.
desensitizes me, but I
Yes.
am more willing if I don't see you get like shocked or
Right.
sad or
Yes.
anything, like I can
Yes.
just debrief you. But if I see that this is affecting you, I'm going to be like,
Yeah.
no, that's okay.
Yeah. And there's actually a lot of police and fire groups
Yeah.
that are motorcycle groups
Yes.
that we've become a part of, that they kind of help each other.
That
Yeah.
is so cool.
Yeah.
I can say for Eric, like in the communication, like as you were talking about his children,
Yeah.
Eric always found a way to, like around the dinner table, which was our big thing. We would always sit down for a meal. And it was difficult, right? It was not easy because I worked a second shift. He would make those kids wait up for me sometimes. And I'm just like, I mean, I would get home around 9:30 and I'm like, honey, let him eat and go to bed, No, we're going to have dinner. It's going to be good. But he would find the way to find humor in some of his calls, because there's always those calls that are just humorous, and those would be the ones that he would share, and those would be the ones that the kids could feel like they were absolutely connected to what he did at work, and in their mind's eye, like Dad was always just a hero. Dad was like, he was there, he helped people. We have these funny stories. They knew that some of them were scary. They knew some of them, and they never inquired about those. They didn't want to know the dark side of what he did, because he could engage with them about the things that they could relate to, that were kind of funny. And so then that's how he let them into his world.
I love that. And my experience with first responders is there's 100 goofy stories to every story of trauma.
There's a lot of silly stories, and
Yes.
I mean, and I've heard some that are just unbelievably funny. I mean, just fall down out of my chair and roll on the floor funny. And I'm thinking, yes, kids could accept those.
Yes.
And most of the time it would seem most kids wouldn't want to know anything more than what Dad's telling.
They never
or Mom's
inquired.
telling. Yes. Mom went through this tonight,
Yeah.
and told me the story about the goofy guy who did blah, blah, blah. And then that satisfies me.
Absolutely. They never asked for anything more than what he was willing to give them.
I love it.
It's a neat way.
Yeah. 2 great tips for those listening. Consider doing your sharing, first responders, when you don't have to look at the person you're responding to.
Yes.
You're sharing the story with.
That's good.
I think that's an awesome suggestion.
Yeah.
And think of the 25 things that are really stupid that happen during your shift.
Right.
Pick 4
Yeah.
and come home and tell those 4 stories. It'll take a half an hour to tell them.
Yep.
And everybody will have a sense of, thank you, Dad. Thank
Yes.
you, Mom, for sharing what you've gone
Absolutely.
through. Fills in the blanks, answers my questions. You have the goofiest job in the world. Okay, yeah. And you love it. I would too. I mean, if all I did was laugh all my ass off all day long, I would like that too. Very, very good. Love all this. Okay, now, can each of you, have you had moments where you look at your spouse or he looks at you and he's carrying around something he's not sharing?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Without
Tell me
a
about
doubt.
that. What communicates that to you?
Oh, gosh. It's heavy.
It's heavy.
It's distant. Sometimes there's like an underlying like anger. You can just tell like he will like snap back an answer that he normally wouldn't, like, a little impatient. There's a lot of signs that like points to those things.
Okay.
Yeah, when you know somebody very intimately, you can tell when their energy's off. You can tell something's just not quite right. And
Yes.
it's the only way to explain it is you know them so intimately that you know that their energy is off.
Yes.
Tone of voice.
Yep. Their
Yeah.
eyes, their facial
Eyes,
expression.
facial expression, yeah.
Body language, the way they hold themselves.
Exactly what I was just going to say.
Yes.
Their bodies.
Yes.
Their nonverbals communicate to you, I'm really carrying something around today.
Yes.
And very short with the kids.
Yeah.
Very short with the kids.
And that's, I mean, as our daughter's 23, and I can't tell you the amount of times as a kid she would cry and be like, Dad, you are such an ass. Can you just come home and be a dad? And it would rip him up. But, and she'll say, you need to go back to counseling. And she puts it straight out there to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually had just a pastor say to me the other day, for cops who have, and fire who have PTSD, our pastor used to be a counselor full time. And he said, I always say to them, like you get an oil checkup 4 times a year, even if you think life's good, you've got to, because you will fall apart if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Yay.
Yes.
Yay.
Yeah.
David's like,
Yes. That's
Yes.
what
Amen.
everybody, yes. Start off with
Yes.
knowing who that therapist is.
Absolutely.
Meet them after 3 months, have an appointment.
Yes.
Yeah. And just make that a regular part of your
Yes.
day. I totally agree. Totally agree. You see your man, you're walking around with all this shit inside. Do you stay away a little more? Do you approach more? Do you... How
Stay
do
away.
you navigate those moments?
That's tough.
I think initially, of course, I always inquire.
Okay.
I'll say, are you okay?
Okay.
Give him the opportunity to open up and say something. And if he says, yeah, I'm fine, real short off like that.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, you're not fine, but I'm going to leave you alone for a while.
Gotcha.
And then just kind of see how it plays out. And then maybe a little bit later, I try to check back in and be like, Eric, I'm a little concerned. You're looking off today. You're feeling off to me. Are you okay? Is there anything you want to talk about? It's usually a no, but at least he knows I'm approachable, and I've opened that up for him. Like,
Right.
I see you're off. I know something's bothering you. Come back and talk to me, and I can listen to you.
Excellent. Excellent. You're at Karen, Nichole?
For me, usually if I can tell something's off, I don't know if this is right or wrong. I don't actually ask him, hey, what's bothering you? Are you okay? I will do the things that I know he likes. Hey, do you want to go have whiskey and a cigar on the back porch? Hey, do you want to go for a hike? Even if like those things aren't necessarily on the books to be like, hey, we got time for this, I will make time. And then usually the response to that, maybe later that night or the next day, be like, hey, thank you for that. I was having a rough day, or this is what was going on. Or even during those moments where we go out and we have a drink, or he's smoking a cigar or whatever, he'll be like, hey, this is what's bothering me and I'd really like to talk about it, or I don't want to talk about it. I just needed this.
And
Yep.
that's enough for you.
Yeah, usually.
And does he kind of do the same thing with you?
He asks, and he'll ask me, hey, are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? I say no, and I don't actually mean that. Like,
What?
So, yeah. Yeah, I just did it to him the other day, and the only person to blame was myself, because he's like, are you okay? Or do you want to talk? And I know I don't want to talk. And then he was like, okay. And then I was like, well, damn, I wanted you to not listen to me.
Please prod me a little more, please.
And he looked at me and he's like, you are so confusing. Which was the moment, like the diffusing thing that I needed. And I was like, blah, or let's go do this. Like, yeah. So he tries really hard. I'm just very difficult.
Well, you're new. You haven't been doing this long. Some of these things will get a little easier to navigate with time, I
Yeah.
would think, for both of you.
Yeah.
Both in terms of him noticing, like Janell's talking, he'll know, okay, I can see what's going on with Nichole. This is what she could really use right now.
Yes.
Like you do for him.
Yes.
And when on Wives on the Line Part 2, we had one of our guests who said she could tell, and he would walk in the door, and she could know pretty much immediately, uh-oh.
Yes.
So she would fix him a drink, or if it was like a bigger uh-oh, she's calling somebody.
Oh, that's good.
I'm going to get somebody here to talk to you, take you out for dinner, whatever. You need something more than I can provide for you.
Yes.
And so she would go and pursue somebody who would become a support for him in that evening. And it's different. I mean, everybody's different. Every relationship is different. There is no way, right, wrong kind of way to do it. But for me, all three of you are like instantly, yeah, you notice.
Yes.
Yeah, you know. Here's the signs, the intimacy, the nonverbals, they all add up to, okay, I need to pay attention.
Yes.
And I need to be sensitive to the moments when he needs to not have me around and the moments he needs to have me around.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
when I'm around, I approach like this. And when I get a response like that, here's how I respond back. You almost script your interactions so that you have a sense of how you're going to walk in, how you're going to engage, and then what's going to tell you to stop.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think those moment-to-moment awareness is what gets you through it. You're sensitive. You're paying attention. And when your insides are telling you, see, and again, as I tell a lot of my coaching clients who are starting new relationships with people, when you go to have a first date, you may have a mental checklist. I want this person to earn this much money, have this in their background. I don't want somebody that's, 2 feet taller than me, that kind of thing. But the most important information you're getting on a first date is the information you get from inside you. Mm-hmm. Your intuition is going to tell you stuff that your head, your emotions, whatever else is going on, that's your source of information. And that's what you're all talking about to me. You know your men, you're committed to loving your men,
Yes.
and so you pay attention, and
Yeah.
you're sensitive, and you are graceful in the way that you engage them when those times are coming through.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to turn the coin over.
Okay.
Maybe less for Nichole, but for Janell and Karen. Sometimes it's hard for you're kind of like carrying around your husband's shit.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And so, do your husbands notice that you're having a hard time? Nichole can join in too.
I can say Eric does.
Okay.
He's very tuned in to me,
Awesome.
and he doesn't like it when he can tell I'm struggling, when I'm having a sad day.
Yeah.
So he gets pre-Save a Warrior. He would get very hyper focused on that, and he would have to have an answer. Sometimes there's really not one particular thing I can say, this is bothering me. It's a multitude of things, and I really don't want to get into it with you right now because I don't need you to tell me how to feel
Or to try to fix it.
and try to fix it. I just need a space to speak. But pre-saw, he could not do that. And so it was almost like I could win an Academy Award at times for putting on a better face. So I didn't have to get into it with him because
Yes.
I didn't want to.
I can relate to that.
Yes.
We've I don't want to say gotten into it, but we've had very serious conversations about, yes, you're right, something is going on. And if I open up to you, I just need you to open your ears and close your mouth. I don't need a solution.
Don't fix me.
I don't need you to fix a darn thing. I just need you to listen. And if you're not willing to sit down and shut up and hear what I have to say, then I'm not going to do it, because all you're going to do by trying to fix it is make it worse. And I'm going
Yes.
to be more upset.
Yes.
Beautiful. Love it.
And that's exactly the way we are.
Yeah. I don't know
Yeah.
why
Yes.
we all are like
Yeah.
that, but we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's a man thing that they want to fix it.
It really is.
Yes.
They're
It's like,
fixers.
this is my job. I need
Yes.
to fix it.
Yes.
Yep. I don't want to be fixed. Just shut up.
Yes.
Listen.
I just need you to listen to
Yes.
me and not
Yes.
provide a solution.
Yes. I don't need that.
Yeah, but it's rumbling around in my brain. It's not helping me. I do need to get it out there.
Yes.
But don't fix it.
No.
Yep.
Just listen.
Don't tell me what I need
No.
with this
Yes.
or a way to fix it. Just sit down, shut up, and let me talk.
Yes.
Kind of think about how I do it with you, dude. When you tell me your stories, am I asking you 14 questions and offer you 13 solutions? Hell no. I'm just sitting there listening.
Right.
Yes.
So can you give me what I give you? And if you can't work that into your head, then, time out.
Yeah.
We'll do this another time.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
need an armchair quarterback.
No.
Yes.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Okay, I'm not sure how much time how we're doing with
It says
time. We're good?
51 minutes.
Okay. There you go. All righty. We're going to cue the music and take a little break, and we're going to do part 2.
Fantastic.
All right. Donnie, cue the music.
May your days and nights find you strong and safe. May you take your place as your family's face. As you do the shit that we won't do. As you embrace the risk you must go through. May you grow in strength and heal and find your heart, your soul, and your mind. You look at your life and grin. You have a home, the Sheild Within.